Hey, big world out there. How y'all doing today? Happy Saturday. We are now in the month of August. Didn't I tell you that July came by and smacked us so crucially and left? Now, look, we are in the month of August. OMG. How are you all doing today? Hey, welcome. Like, I'm just so excited. It's Saturday. So look, as I always let you know, let's just say you encountered some highs and you encountered some lows today or this week or what have you. Never fail. Always keep the faith. You made it another day. You are here in the land of the living, and we just want to thank God for that. So, I got some fun food facts. Like, I'm a foodie, as all of you all can tell. I love food and desserts. Desserts mainly, but food. So I had to go out and I had to do some research because I wanted to know some things, especially about some favorite foods of mine. So, fun fact number one. Did you know that the Caesar salad was invented July 4th, 1924? Now, when you think of Caesar salad, I think of Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. So I think that they are related or had some type of connection. OMG, but wait till you hear this. The Caesar salad is often believed to have been created by Julius Caesar, like I said, but it wasn't. It was Caesar Cardini, an Italian chef who owned a restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico. The original ingredients was lettuce stalks, it was olive oil, raw eggs, croutons, Parmesan cheese, and Worcestershire sauce. And so that was the whole Caesar salad in 1924. Studies have it that, of course, some of those ingredients have been taken out. It's just now the lettuce, the dressing, maybe the olive oil, the cheese, and the croutons. Hey, Aunt Tootie, thanks for tuning in. Now, I know I love Caesar salad, so to know that it was not from Julius Caesar himself and the original ingredients, like I'm glad that it's still here and I still like it after reading that. Now, our next fun food fact is, did you know that honey did not spoil? Like, it could stay out for decades, centuries, and it will not spoil. The reason is due to its unique chemical and biological properties. It has a low pH, high sugar content, and low moisture content, making it inhospitable to bacteria and other microorganisms that cause spoilage. Also, bees play a role in it by removing moisture during the honey production. So like that bee movie, it's like a kid's movie that came out some years ago. That movie is true. I'm a firm believer of that. So those are my fun food facts today. Caesar salad came out July 4th, 1924, and honey does not spoil. Now I just want to go buy up all the honey. Just save it. But okay, since we are in the month of August, we are celebrating August birthdays. August birthdays. July still rocks, but happy birthday to my August people. I got some special birthday August shout outs. Gisette Jackson, my wife. David Kingley, my nephew. Lucretia Foster, my best friend. And happy heavenly birthday to my Nana, Dolores Samuels. That's my Nana, y'all. Thanks for joining, Miss K. Special shout out to last week's guest, Angel Parker of Angel's Tax Services, and special shout out to Kamaria Pendleton of Pendleton Quick Tax. Now, for some reason, I have a problem saying her name, so to me, she's Miss K. Period, point blank. Hey, Mr. McCall, thanks for joining in. Hey, Miss Beasley. Hey. So, those are my special shout outs for the birthdays that's coming. I really want to thank them two ladies for tuning in last week and jumping on as we delivered so much information from the accountant's perspective as well as the client's perspective. If you missed that show, I know that you can still catch it on Facebook. If not, go on over to YouTube, type in Anointed Accounting, subscribe to that page. It's free, and you can see that show plus any other show that we've done. My other announcements, since we're in August, this is really, really big, everyone. We have exactly 44 days before the corporation tax returns are due. What does that mean, Shavonna? If you file out on an 1120, an 1120S, a 1065, etc., your return is due September 15th. Now, if you are my client and you file on either one of those forms, your return is done and just needs to be submitted already, because as you know, after this week, I will not be doing taxes. I will be digging into that bill, giving you more and more and more and more information. Now, with that being said, we have 74 more days before individual tax returns are due. Now, it seems like a long time, but it's not. It's really not a long time at all. Them 74 days is going to come and punch you in the throat and keep going. However, if you are my client, you've been in contact with me, all of your stuff will be done and sent out to you by Friday of this upcoming week. That's because we here at Anointed Accounting, we take pride in what we do. We love our clients and we protect them as if their stuff is our stuff. Mr. McCall, you are not going to jail. We will not have that. You have Anointed Accounting. I will be talking to you after this show. Again, please like, love, comment, share the content. It's free. Everybody needs to know this. And if you haven't subscribed to that YouTube channel, please go on over to YouTube and subscribe. Yeah, we are giving out some very, very, very important information. Some information to help you. And if not help you, help someone in your circle, okay? 9 times out of 10, when you go and you have consultations with other people and you get this information, they're doing it at a fee. Everything is not about $1. Everything is not about a fee. Although we were taught everything starts and ends with a transaction. I also believe that knowledge is key and power. So if I know it, I am going to give it to the customers for the customers to know it. Because again, you guys are my family. Period, point blank. So I got an exciting show today. Just the way we did July when we talked about the W-4s, the W-9s, the ILW-4s, the tax returns. And then, of course, we had that special show last Saturday where we talked about any accounting aspects and prospects and challenges and everything under the sun. We talked about that. So now the question comes about, Shavonna, I still need help. I get a 1099. So guess what today's show is about? 1099s. Get ready, because I got some information for you. I got a lot of information to give you in the next 52 minutes. Now, if I go too fast or if you have any questions, as always, chime in. I'm ready to answer those questions for you. So, our whole month of August is going to be geared toward individuals that receive 1099s. I'm going to be doing a show talking to truck drivers. I'm going to be doing a show talking to the service industry people. And I'm also going to be doing a show talking to those stylists and barbers. So you're going to fall right within that category. So why not kick it out today just so you can know, right? Because I want you to know, because the more you know, the better it is, and you're able to help me. Now, some people say, what is a 1099? Why is a 1099 so important when it's dealing with me? Or are you sure that I don't receive a W-2? So here is how you know that you are a 1099 employee. First of all, if you're self-employed and nobody is paying your Social Security and Medicare taxes, nobody is matching that 7.65%, you're a 1099 employee. If someone is using any service that you have and they are paying you cash or paying you via check or credit card, you are a 1099 contractor, freelancer, or as I like to say, a side hustle making money. That's how you know you're under 1099. Typically, when you go to companies, they say, I'm going to give you a W-4. I want you to fill that out. And if you caught July's 5th show, you know the W-4. You're going to put your name, your company's name there, your EIN number. You're going to sign and date it. And you're going to put in there what type of entity you have, whether it's self-employed, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, a LLP. However, you are going to fill that out. No, Mr. McCall, all 1099 people are not going to jail. Stop saying that. No, that is not true. That's why I'm here to help you. So, now, here's what matters when it comes to 1099 employees. This episode, I'm going to be talking to you about tax preparation, meaning getting your documents together, what documents you're supposed to have, how the documents help you. I'm going to be talking to you about career shifts if you are that 1099 employee, meaning you are exploring other opportunities in other industries, or you no longer want to just receive that cash flow just under your name. You may want to open up a company, right? Now, you also have that freelance economy, right? And with that, you get to control your schedule. You get to spend more time with friends and family. You get to be your own boss. And also, if you decide to do a career change to move from a W-9 to a W-4, you would be receiving benefits if that company offers 401k, dental, vision, health coverage, etc. So, we're going to be talking about that. So let's jump right on in. Great point, Ms. K. Keeping good records. That is so important. I actually had someone today to tell me that, had I known before I started this, that it was so important for me to keep track of my income, I would have been in a much better space. I wasn't able to track it. I didn't know what I was spending, nor did I know what I was getting. I just know I was able to pay the bills as they came. That's not good. But we're getting that person on track, right? Now, the key difference between a 1099 person and a person that's on a W-2 is benefits. What are those benefits, Shavonna? Deductions, flexibility, and you being your own boss, right? So let me give you an example. I talk about nobody else but me, because I can't talk about nobody else because that's the secrets that I got to take to my grave. So I am considered a 1099 employee, which means if someone calls Anointed Accounting and says, I would like to hire you for bookkeeping services, for tax preparation services, for company formation services, whatever service they're looking for, if they contact me, they're going to maybe pay me cash, a credit card, or business check, right? Now, it is my responsibility at the end of the year to report that money. If I'm doing contractual work with a company, 9 times out of 10, they're going to cut me a 1099 at the end of the year, and they're going to put it in Anointed Accounting's name. So Anointed Accounting will be responsible for reporting that income. However, the benefits of that is any deductions that I incur with this business, whether it's payroll, whether it's payroll taxes, supplies, materials, programs, marketing, I am able to write those off. Now, assuming that I was receiving a W-2, I would not be able to write those expenses off. Two different things, right? You with me? Okay. Flexibility. Because I'm my own boss, I can choose the hours that I want to work. So I'm an early morning riser, but I'm also a late night person. This past week, my migraine's been kicking in, so it's been trying to hold me down. But guess what? I'm back. So this week, we're going to be knocking all them tax returns down. Pow, pow, pow. Now, that's the flexibility that I have by being my own boss. My time is not controlled by punching a clock or having a set schedule. The legal protection that I have as a 1099 employee is having general liability insurance. And what that covers is bodily injuries, property damages, or business activities, right? So let's just assume that something happened within my company and it's my era. General liability insurance will cover that. I have that insurance. I also have errors and omission insurance because I need to protect the company itself. The other thing that protects me legally is having professional liability insurance, which is the errors and omissions, and it helps with different types of lawsuits and negligence that can happen on accident. But it's thoroughly looked into. Nonetheless, you should still have that insurance. Now, insurance differs from state to state, but with being a 1099 employee, you have 10 major rights, and we're going to go through those rights. But right now, for the sake of time, the rights that I have as an independent contractor is having a written contract. So if I take on work with someone, I am able to have that written contract. I'm able to manage my business how I see fit and my employee benefits. I may not have a benefits package. I may not have a luxury package for the management team. However, I may just offer dental coverage. I may offer 401k. It just depends on how I want to structure the business as a 1099 employee. Now, some common industries that receive 1099s: truck drivers, yes, construction workers, creative industries, meaning graphic designs, website, photographers, videograph. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But those are what you call creative industries, right? Another industry that we can look at is security. You may have a personal bodyguard. You may hire a detective or a private investigator. It's just solely up to you how you want to collaborate on that security side. There are more industries out there that's on 1099s, but those are some of your most common ones, right? Now, what a lot of 1099 employees versus W-2 employees go through is the misconception of identity, which means you are not aware of how to verify if you're getting a 1099 or a W-2. So let's just assume someone calls and hires Anointed Accounting, and they say, I would like to use your services. This is what I need done. Well, to me, you're going to be issuing me a 1099 at the end of the year. Now, if you call and say, I need you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from the hours of 3 to 7, you're now controlling my time. You're controlling what I would have as flexibility. So I'm no longer a 1099 employee. I am a W-2 employee, which means now you're going to be matching my Social Security and Medicare wages that's put in. So you want to be able to identify who you are by the way you get paid. And that's why it's so important that when you're filling out these onboarding documents, when you start working for entities, you ask all these questions. You know what you're getting yourself into. You know what to expect at the end of the year. When I mentioned deductions earlier, that means, and Mr. McCall, I'm going to mess with you since you're on here. That means if you're a truck driver, right? You're buying fuel. You may have to buy tires. You may have to get other equipment to go with the truck. You have to pay insurance. You have to make sure your DOT number is up and running. You have to make sure you're covered with not just one insurance, but you have to have the insurance for the front of the truck as well as the trailer. So there's a lot of things that go into that when it comes to expenses. You may have to pay what they call merchant fees, which means if a company pays you, they may charge you a fee for direct depositing that money into your account. That's a fee. That's a write-off for you. So when I say deductions, that means you want to keep all of your receipts for that year. If you are not doing bookkeeping services, you want to keep all of those receipts and turn them into your accountant / tax preparer at the end of the year. As Ms. K pointed out last year, your book should really be done no later than July 1st if you are keeping up with everything. If you're not, the latest you want to get your stuff turned in is January 31st. And that's just you getting all your receipts. Typically, if you're going to be receiving a 1099, that is going to come in the month of January or February. However, and here's the caveat, companies have by law the right to send out any 1099s. They can also be post dated January 31st of that current year. So let's just say you're ready to file your taxes. Let's say you got all your books together, but you're waiting on this 1099 and it's January 27th. Guess what? By law, the company is within their rights. They can actually send it out on the 28th, the 29th. They can even send it out on the 31st. As long as it's postmarked by the United States Postal Service, they are in compliance. So sometimes when you don't get those 1099s right away, don't panic. Just know that they're coming after that January 31st mark. You also have some companies that say, hey, what am I waiting for? My books are already in order. They're done. I'm going to issue everybody's 1099 when they get their next paycheck. That's good. You have some companies that do that, but some that don't panic. They are coming. Also, this is a good time to have that IRS ID Me account, because any company that your social is attached to and they have given you any money, they are going to report that to the IRS. You know why? Because they don't want to pay the taxes on your money. That is solely your responsibility. You have to make and report that income and pay the taxes on that money. Okay? Now, the pros and cons for a 1099 contractor, right? Yes, there's pros and cons. And again, I keep mentioning flexibility and freedom, multiple streams of income, and more control over your career direction. What does that mean? Again, flexibility. I may not want to work Monday and Tuesday. I may just want to work Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I have the right to do that because I'm a freelancer or I'm a contractor. Or if you give me a project, depending on the type of work, if it's construction, and this has to get done within 90 days. Okay, I have 90 days to do it. That does not mean I have to work the shift that you want me to work. I can choose that. So if you're expecting me to be there on a Thursday, but a best friend of mine is having a breakfast with friends and family that same day, I have the right to do as I see fit because you do not control my time. Long as the project is done within the amount of time that's on the contract and that was stipulated. So that's where that freedom and flexibility come in at. Multiple streams of income. So here's a good example. I've seen when it comes to stylists receive 1099s and they do hair. However, some stylists also transition over to being a barber. That's another stream of income. You also have different industries, like say for instance, you decorate, but you also know how to bartend. You're a 1099 contractor. So that's a different stream of income. It does not have to stop at just one. If you choose to do one more than the other, you might decide to go full-fledged and get your licenses in it. Like you may want to be licensed in HVAC. You may want to be a general contractor. However, you may want to be a stylist. If that is your choice, that's fine. You just need to know if you're working for someone, if you're going to be on a W-2 or a 1099. You have to know that. Any amount of income that you make over $600, that has to be reported to the Internal Revenue Service. It has to be. It's no getting around it. Anything more than $600, report that income. Now, when it comes to your career direction, as I said, you may choose to do one over the other, or hey, you may choose to do both. It's not a problem. You're just opening yourself up for more streams of income, and who doesn't want more money, right? Right. Now, the cons to that being a 1099 contractor is that there is no health insurance benefits. Like if you're on a W-2, you look at your pay stub, you see Social Security, Medicare, and then you see health coverage, dental, vision. You see all of this coming out of your paycheck. Whereas when you receive a 1099, you just get a check. That's it. There's no deductions. So if you want that health coverage, that dental, that medical, vision, that 401k, you have to get that on your own. You have to solely get that by yourself. If you need help getting that, you could contact your accountant and or tax preparer, and they will be able to show you how to set that up. That also comes with making those payments on your account with IRSID.me. Now, another con to that is that when you receive a W-2, I stated at the beginning that their Social Security and Medicare is being matched, right? Guess what? When you're a 1099 employee, your Social Security and Medicare is not being matched. Who's matching it? You don't work for anyone but yourself. So you yourself are paying for your Social Security and Medicare. That tax is 15.9%. That's what, I'm sorry, 15.3%. That's what you're paying. That portion that the company was going to pay, and now you're paying your portion. It's called self-employment tax. We talked about that on July 19th show when we were going line by line through the tax return, and you saw where that self-employment tax number would go because you're paying self-employment tax. Now, some people look at that as, oh my God, I got a big bill. I got to pay all this money. I got to pay this and I got to pay that. Well, keep in mind that nobody is matching your Social Security and Medicare. So when it's time for you to retire, that money has to sit somewhere. So you're just paying into that. You're paying into your own Medicare and Social Security. That's what you're doing. So yes, you have a balance at the end of the year. Yes, you may have to pay estimated tax payments, but you're not working for anyone that could match that and can pay that for you. You're paying that yourself. Keyword, self-employment tax, period. The other caveat to that is that when you're on a W-2, a lot of companies offer workers' compensation. So if something happens on the job or if something happened with you, you're able to take workman's compensation or FMLA. When you are on a 1099, you don't have either. You have to pay for that and pay into that. Again, get with your accountant and or your tax preparer so they can go over all of the logistics with you if you're on a 1099. Some of this stuff is missed when you're going through the formality of it. You don't think about it. You just think about, oh, the money I'm making. But when the tax return is due and you say, oh, I didn't make a lot of money, or where is all my money? This is because you are unaware of what's going on and how your money is flowing. If you're not keeping good records, you won't know if you're at a profit or a loss. I honestly recommend anybody that's a cash-based business and that's receiving a 1099, or you're self-employed or a freelancer, you want to know where you are every month. For the month of August, at the end of August, I want to know if I got a profit or if I got a loss. I need to know where I stand from a financial aspect. This also comes with budgeting. Again, get with your accountant and or your tax preparer so they can cover all of this with you. It's so important. Now, what I recommend for people that are on 1099s, and I told you that you had rights, and I want to go into that with you. I want to talk about what you need to know and how important this is for you, because this is your business. This is your passion. You went to school for it. You got a happy attitude about it. You love helping people, so why not treat it as such? Meaning, get an EIN number. Whether you're a sole proprietor, whether you're a LLC, whether you're a corporation, treat it as a business. A lot of people, especially when they're dishing out money, I want to pay it to a business because I want to be able to write that off. Sometimes, as an individual, and let's just say I know someone that does plumbing, right? So when things happen, I call this certain individual, they come out and do the plumbing work. Now, if I spend more than $600, I want to issue them a 1099 because I don't want to pay on that money. That's not my responsibility, right? So it's very, very, very important you treat it as a business, because now that person that I issued that 1099 to, they're able to write off all of those expenses. There's no need to sit there and figure out what to do when they have that flexibility of having the deductions to be written off. Open a business bank account. Please get a business bank account. I cannot stress that enough. You do not want to commingle funds. That's when you go to jail, because the company's money is the company's money. Your money is your money. Now, here's the example that I like to use. Suppose you want to go get a house. They're going to ask for your bank statements. They're also going to ask you for a profit and loss statement. Now, say you are a big gambler. You're going to use that same debit card at the casino and you're going to use it at Quill? Absolutely not. Stop commingling your funds. Do not do that. Get a business bank account. Chase is a good bank. Bank of America is a good bank. Citibank is a good bank. BMO Harris is a good bank. You want to get with the bank that's FDIC. And also, because of the way the world is moving today, make sure these banks take Zelle, because you have a lot of people that are pushing away from credit cards and also cash. They're now, can I Zelle it to you? Can I give you cash? Or maybe pay by credit card. A lot of people don't like to pay that convenience fee, and I get it. But get into the habit of being friends with your bank, because they're going to help you. That's funding. Know the manager of the bank. Go in there, speak, meet the people. Let them know who you are. You don't know what doors that's going to open. Every time I go to Chase, I stop and I talk to the branch manager. I actually know 3 of them out in this area where I'm at. And when I go, hey, how you doing? How's your wife doing? They know me, because if I need something, I know who to go to. Thirdly, track all of your income and expenses. Now, here's some routes. You can use Excel. If you have Excel, that's free. You can use Zero with an X instead of a Z. You can use QuickBooks or Wave or Anointed Accounting for a fee. But you also have some of these tools that are free if you are an upcoming business. Again, you want to know your income. Time and time again, I hear people say, Shavonna, I can't see how I made that money. Where did that money go? Where is it at? Why am I not seeing it? That's because you are not keeping up with your income and expenses. What you're keeping up with is the rent is due on the first, the car payment is due on the second. I got to make sure the kids need what they need for the week and potentially pay for daycare. That's what you're thinking about. Then when you go to work, you say, okay, I got supplies and materials to get, so I got to go and get these supplies and materials. I don't got enough money, so I'm going to transfer it from this account to this account. People, stop. Don't do that. Don't. Because if your accountant is not aware of how you're set up and structured, you're going to be paying taxes on money that don't even need to be taxed. Stop commingling your funds, people. That business bank account is going to help. And when you submit those documents to your preparer and they go and they pick up all your income at the end of the month, when you are giving a set of financials, you will know where you stand at for that month. You can get them monthly, you can get them quarterly, you can get them semi-annually, or you can get them annually. It's your choice how you see fit. I'm nosy. I want to know if I made money today. I don't even want to wait the whole 30 days. I want to know today. If I woke up this morning and I started work and I didn't have no clients, well, today is zero. Now tomorrow, oh, I made $813.44. Great. That's a plus for me. But I want to know. I'm in the need to know business about me because I'm nosy about me. Now, again, that self-employment tax that I talked about. It says you pay 25 to 30%. What I tell people is go off your income amount. You can start at 25%, go all the way up to maybe 55%, depending on how much your company makes. And what that means is, let's assume that your company made $50,000. You're going to times that by 35%, and whatever that amount is, that's going to go to your self-employment taxes on the federal and the state side. You want to include that. So when you file your taxes and you're hit with this astronomical number, guess what? You're able to pay the bill because you saved up for it. Or if you're responsible and you say, guess what? It's time for me to make my estimated tax payment. I don't really want to give up this $400, but when I retire, at least I know I have something. That's a good way of looking at it. Stop thinking that you're just giving your money away. Put it towards something meaningful like retirement. When I retire, I'm going to be able to do this. Because I tell myself when I'm paying the IRS, even with making estimated tax payments, I tell myself, oh, I can't wait to get 51. I'm going to be laying on somebody's beach with a Mai Tai. Or I'm going to be in Alaska on a snowboard. I'm going to do it because I got to. I'm paying into this, so I got to have something. That way, I'm not extremely upset at the amount that's being owed, okay? Them estimated tax payments every quarter will help you. It's beneficial. Now, here's what I tell all my clients. I get it. I understand that the struggle is real. I understand that at this particular moment, you may not have that amount to send in. I get it. But when you do get that amount, send it in. Because if not, when you get to the end of the year and you file your taxes and you have that big bill, you're going to be mad. And you're going to sit here in this chair and you're going to talk about how you don't like to pay taxes, how you wish you didn't have to pay taxes, how poor you are, and this doesn't make sense. You're not making any money. And I'm going to listen to you. I am, because that's my job. However, I'm going to tell you, think about retirement. Think about that Medicare. Think about the money that you're putting in that's going to help you more so in the long run. Treat your 1099 role like a business, because it is a business. It's your business. It's your baby. It's what you put all of your time and effort in. I went to school for my company. I trained for my company. I tutored after class. I was intimate with my professors. I knew their business hours better than they did. I was at their door knocking. Hey, it's me. Open the door. Even if I didn't have an appointment, I had a question because I was on a need to know business. This was important to me. Did they tell me the good and the bad? Absolutely, they did. And I still wanted to do it. And I treat it as a business. If you do not treat your business as a business and with respect, you cannot expect anyone else to do so. If you treat it as though it means nothing at all, the next person is going to do the same. Get that insurance for your business. Yes, it's extremely high. I know it's extremely high. I'm the same 1099 person that's giving you this information. I know it's high, but you got to protect yourself. Miss Angel talked about that on the show last week. She had a client that had an issue and thought that errors and omission was going to pay for it. Went to court. It was not her fault. But let's assume that it was her fault and she did not have that errors and omission. She would have had to come out of pocket with $45,000. It's not necessary. Pay $100 and some a month. You can even bundle it. I also have an insurance company that I can refer you to if you need that, because I have all of my insurance through this company. So the insurance is important. Retirement. Set up that retirement for yourself. It's so important because you are self-employed and you don't want to be 65, 70 out here working. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You want to be able to walk around smoothly, comfortably, without worrying about anything. And that's because you prepared before now. You put things in order and in perspective so you can be able to live that lifestyle that you want to live. Now, is it a struggle sometimes? Absolutely. Your cash-based businesses do struggle sometimes. We do have our slow periods. However, we still have to plan. We still have to be prepared. And I know what you're saying, Shavonna, that's hard, especially if you don't have the money. I get it. But when you do get it, you put it aside. See, it's best to know better than not knowing. And because I know this, I'm okay with it. Anytime you call any federal and state entity and you say, well, I didn't know, they're not going to take that as like, okay, that's a valid reason. No, they're not. They're going to say that is your problem. Why didn't you do the research on it? Why wasn't it important enough to you? Don't let that be a phone call that you have. So I'd rather be aware than unaware. In your field, continue your education and skill building. It never stops, people. Never. Although I'm in accounting, we talk about accounting, we talk tax, we talk laws, we talk bookkeeping, we talk company formation. When we talk, we talk. But this is our passion. As I mentioned last week, we have to study for this. We have to take classes for this. And although this stuff is valid to us and we learn all of this stuff, all of that can absolutely go out the window come January and we have to do it all over again. But we have to stay abreast it. I know me, I love school. My mom used to always say, I wish you loved school when you had to go. Because when you had to go, I couldn't make you go. Now I can't keep you out of school. I cannot wait to be in the position to go back to school for my PhD in forensic psychology. And I'm going. And that's going to help me deal with people from a character level, from a personality level. How do you deal with people when they're strained about their finances and they just don't get it? I want to be that person, right? So it's so important to continue your education. Learn something else. Don't stay stagnant. Don't just want to do this one thing. Don't. I wanted to learn how to do home and business modifications. I did that because I went out there and I asked someone, how does this work? And you know what I found out under everyone that I sat under? Reading and understanding is so fundamental. And what you don't understand, you ask those questions. And my mom always told me, you better ask the questions in school. Don't come home and ask me because I don't know. And she was not telling the story. She did not know. So I was very, very inquisitive. I wasn't one of the cool kids. I sat right in the front and I raised my hand because depending on the school I was at, That was my money I was paying per credit hour. So you were going to answer my questions. Do that with your tax preparer and or your accountant. If they are unable to answer any of your questions, pick up your documents and leave, because your questions are valid and they are important. Another thing, as I stated, some months are slower than others, very slow. Take that time to budget, re-strategize, put up money, market, improve yourself. Get ready for that tax peak season, because you know that you're going to have to get these taxes done. Plus, as a business, you want to know where you stand. Suppose you want a business line of credit. Suppose you want to put something in the company's name, like a car or a piece of property. Well, guess what? They're going to ask you for tax returns. When they see that you have a balance, they're going to ask you to fill out form 4506T, which is transcripts, because they're going to want to go pull them themselves to see if there's a balance or if you are actively paying on your payment plan. It is so important to do so, people. So very important. It's so very important. And I tell you these things because I want you to know. So know the difference from being a W-2 versus a 1099 contractor. The minute somebody tries to control your time, the minute they try to pay you direct deposit and take out taxes, you are not a 1099 person. Again, ride shares, some service industry, whether you're a stylist, a barber, or work at a restaurant, construction workers, general contractors. Some of you all are on 1099s, truck drivers. Some of you all are receiving 1099s. Know your rights. Call your accountant or your preparer. Now, a lot of people say, well, making money on a 1099, and these are some myths, but I've also heard some people say, well, I think I'm going to have to go over to a W-2 because I'm just not making the money. And you know what? At that point in time, that may very well be the case. However, let me share this story with you, right? Back in 2017, I was coming home from school, and I used to go to Roosevelt University downtown. And I Ubered from school one day, and it was a gentleman that picked me up. And, you know, when we got to where I live, he said, you do know it's some colleges out this way. You go a long way. And I say, well, there's no other school that has a forensic accounting program. And plus, I just love being in the downtown area. And they said, okay, forensic accounting. I never heard of that. What is that? And, you know, I basically told them it's white collar crime, embezzlement. Like, I'm nosy. I just want to find out everything. And I want to fix everything. I want to have that ammunition to get up there and fight for you. Kind of sort of like an attorney, but I'm just doing it on the accounting side. And this individual was like, well, do you do taxes? And I said, actually, I do. I love doing taxes. Let me guess. You need your taxes done. And he turned around and looked at me and said, taxes? I need about 5 years done. 5? Where have you been, honey? So as we began to talk, he started expressing to me how he left corporate America to do a rideshare service. And I said, wait a minute. You left out of a corporate America job that was paying, I guess, 80 to 100,000 with benefits to ride around and drive people around all day. That don't make sense to me. He said, yeah, a lot of people didn't think so, but it make a lot of sense to me because I'm paid. And I was baffled. Anyway, I gave this individual my contact information, and they set an appointment to come see me, right? So they came, they saw me, they gave me all of their documents, right? And I'm sitting here looking at these 1099s and his spreadsheet and all, because I just can't believe I'm looking at a 1099 for almost $200,000. That has nothing to do with the spreadsheet that has another 100+ thousand on there. And I'm like, wait a minute, how you making this money driving? And so the one thing he told me is that he has his cash-based his riders, which means if he picked up somebody more than 2 or 3 times, he gave them their number, and now they're a regular. Guess what? I became a regular. I was going somewhere every week. He was taking me to school and picking me up 3 times a week. On the weekend, he was taking me to the grocery store and back. I had a designated driver, and I had to pay a weekly fee. He also had someone that worked in Ohio. So he had to go to Ohio a couple times a week driving. And the money that this gentleman made, I was just baffled. So I understood why he came out of corporate America. On his spreadsheet, he had not only all of his expenses. I like the fact that he was honest and reported his cash, because he didn't have to do that. But he knew that he wanted to do something more. So he had all of his expenses. He had an abundance of insurance. Like, he was just ready for whatever. He didn't pay estimated tax payments, but whenever I told him what his bill was to the federal and state entities, we were able to pay that bill going in because he saved. He knew at the end of every month to save at least 20 to 30% of his earnings, because he didn't want to be bit in the end. He knew that, so he was ready. So after that, some years later, and he and I still conversate. Hey, Miss Angel. He and I still conversate. He relocated and he opened up his own rideshare service company just by being a 1099 employee. So you do have some highs and you do have some lows. It just depends on what you do with your business. I'm not saying, I'm not the one to come and preach to you and say, like, a lot of misconceptions. Oh, you can make 50,000 in 1 month. You possibly can. I don't know that to be true. What I'm telling you is what to do and how to do it and how to get there. And if you can't keep something as simple as your receipts, how you gonna get the 50,000? How? You can't even keep up with your receipts. You won't even talk to your accountant or your tax preparer. You won't even fill out the right documents that you need to fill out. My people, I love you guys so much. Please take this information so seriously and fill out those documents. As Miss K said last week, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We want those phone calls. We want those text messages, because we don't want to wait to the end to try to help you, when in reality, we can't help you because you didn't come to us and tell us in enough time. So, with that being said, I'm going to give you some key takeaways, because I said a lot today. I'm going to give you some key takeaway pointers. First, know the difference if you are a 1099 contractor or a W-2 employee. Know the difference. How I know the difference, what stuck in my mind, is when you had to control my time. If I couldn't pick the day and time I wanted to come and you had to pick that for me, I'm on a W-2, which means you're paying Social Security and Medicare. Now, if I can pick the time that I want to come, I may want to come Monday at 2 in the morning, but may not come back till Wednesday at 4:15 p.m. I can do that because I am that freelance person. Be familiar with your benefits, your taxes, and your legal protections. Know what your right is as a 1099 employee. Don't think that because you receive a 1099, you don't have any rights. I just went over 10 rights with you all. Know your rights. The next one, set yourself up as a business. Treat it as a business, because if you don't, nobody else will. It's only as important as you make for yourself. Work with an accountant. Please work with somebody that knows the laws, that's going to help you, that's going to do that extensive research, that's going to find out what you need to have, what you don't need, what you can and what you can't do. Work with that person. Now, will you have to pay that person? Absolutely. But you pay for what you get. You pay for what you get. If you want good stuff and good quality, you're going to pay for it. If you don't, and Gina from across the street tell you what her cousin Felicia did, then hey, you get what you get. Not saying that it could be wrong, and I'm not downplaying anyone. I'm just saying if you're going to move forward and treat this as a business, it's time to elevate and move up. You don't have to stay stagnant, okay? Now, I said a lot. I know I did. But over the next 4 weeks, again, especially next week, Lord's willing, as my auntie Johnny and my mama would say, Lord's will, if I'm back in 7 days at 3:15, we are going to be talking to barbers and stylists. Today, we talked to all 1099 employees across the board, just giving you the foundation and the breakdown and the basics. But next week, I'm going to be talking to the stylist and the barber industry, because a lot of that industry is on 1099s. A lot of that industry does not keep up with their income and their expenses. A lot of that industry does not know their write-offs. A lot of that industry does not know why they're being taxed, or if they're a LLC, or if they're a corporation. Sometimes they assume because they're doing the work and they made the money, guess what? They're a business. That doesn't always work. That doesn't mean that. You want to be legit on paper. You want that EIN letter from the Internal Revenue Service. That's so very, very important. So next week, I'm going to be talking to the barbers and the stylist industry. Okay? People, please take this very, very seriously. Okay? This is so very, very, very important. You already know that if you have any questions, you may contact me at area code 312-837-7219. You may also contact me at 312-632-8860. If I do not answer the phone, please leave me a text message. I will respond. You can also visit my website at www.anointedaccounting.com. Some of my services are listed there. Any service that you're looking for, is if it's not there, don't think that we don't do it, because here we love to read. We don't turn down nothing, because you can find out a lot just by reading. Okay? I'm also on all social media platforms under Anointed Accounting, ANOINTEDACCOUNTING. People, please stay in contact with us. Remember, you have exactly 44 more days before your corporation's returns are due, which means 1120s, 1120S's, 1065s, 990s. If you haven't submitted that, if you have those returns that are due, those need to be submitted by September 15th, especially if you went out on an extension in March. If you are on a 1040, your return is due in 74 days, which is October 15th. Now, that sounds like it's a lot of time, but it's not. Just like August crept up on us so quickly, we're going to be in September and October so quick, it's ridiculous. Please get your stuff in. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We love the interaction. Please like, love, comment, share the free content. Free. This is all free knowledge, and everything I'm telling you is on the federal and state websites. Trust me. And it comes with experience, because I've been in this for a little bit over 12 years. So please take this seriously, people. Please. We're here to help you. We want to see you succeed. Until next week, I want you guys to have a peaceful, blessed, and safe week. Remember to check on someone and then check on yourself. That's so very, very important. I look forward to seeing you all next week. I can't wait because we're going to have a good old show next week and we are going to get it in. Stay blessed, stay peaceful, stay humble, and I love you guys. Bye.